Hey friends, welcome to another episode of the Sketchy Ideas Show, the live point counterpoint video podcast where we illustrate, debate, talk about concepts surrounding leadership, business, personal development, well-being, movies, food, anything and everything in order to help make sure you think twice before you implement that new idea or sketchy idea that you just learned all about on the internet. Hi, I am Brad James.
And I am Michael Rampolla.
And today, Michael is at summer camp, but we're not going to let that stop us. He's going to share with us some things that you can do when you're running events over the course of a week long. But before we do that, a word from our sponsors. Michael.
Thank you. Sketchy Ideas this week is powered by the Wisconsin Association of School Councils. We engage, empower, and educate high school, middle school, and elementary school students. The goal of the WASC is to make schools and communities better by setting the students up for greater success. Some of the ways that we do that are through our programming. Right now, for example, Leadership Camp is one of our major summer programs. We also have some virtual programs and some programs throughout the school year, all designed to help students and teachers make a bigger impact where they are. You can learn more about WASC at wasc.org. Back to you, Brad.
Thank you. And guess what? We actually help a lot of organizations like that with my friends over at Cream City Marketing, doing a lot of printing and PR and all of those good things and outreach strategies for nonprofit organizations, especially if they're educational based because of some of our partners. So if you're struggling with that, or you feel like you're a marketing group of one person in an organization that supports thousands or hundreds of students, and you feel like you're all alone, do me a favor. Hit my friend up, Erin, over at Cream City Marketing. She's going to help you out. You can hit her up at erin@creamcitymarketing.com, and she's going to ask you a whole bunch of questions to help take a whole bunch of stuff off of your plate. So ping Erin at creamcitymarketing.com. So with that, hey, Michael.
Hey, Brad.
How's summer camp?
Camp's been going great. It's been fantastic. Staff got here on Friday of last week. We had basically 48 hours of staff training. Our delegates is what we call it, the students that are basically representing their schools and their communities. They came here midday on Sunday. They're in the middle of a project right now where they are trying to solve a case study around how to make a school climate better at a case study school in the state of Wisconsin. So these are high school students we taught them the problem-solving methodology. They're basically doing design thinking on a case study right now. And yes, these
wait.
sophomores.
You're using the stuff that you're teaching people here and things that you helped, for example, one of our previous guests, Susie, learn how to do to high schoolers.
That is 100% accurate. I did a little mini session with everybody on design, define the problem, design a solution, deliver and implement, see if it's working. If it's not, go back to the top of the order and see how you can better define the problem. We taught that to high school students, and right now they're doing that actively in their small groups. We got some awesome questions earlier. One student stopped another student and said, I don't think we've defined the problem well enough yet. You're jumping to solutions. Let's go back to our hypothesis.
So in other words, what I'm hearing from you is that if a high school student can learn this stuff, odds are all of you adults who are watching us can probably also learn and implement these things.
I like to think.
Am I getting that right?
I think you got that right. I often joke that what I get to do with students, I get to do with adults, and I do make a fairly accurate statement that the students typically learn it faster. They do. They typically learn faster because they don't have all the preconceived notions around how it's supposed to be. So,
Tatwadi, our friend Tatwadi.
Our friend Tatwadi is back. Folks, if you've missed our previous episodes where our friend Tatwadi arrived, Tatwadi is one of our favorite acronyms. TTWWADI stands for That's the Way We've Always Done It. One of our favorite red flags. If that's the way we've always done it is the reason you're doing it, you might not need to do it anymore. At least you need to ask better questions.
Yeah. So, all right. But today you wanted to talk about and share, hey, with events like this and how you're working it, every day is almost like a new event, a new program.
100%.
So for those of you who are working in teams, on like a project or trying to work maybe clients through stuff, and it's maybe a week-long program for all of the consultants or coaches out there. Today, you're going to talk about something dealing with pint-sized, tiny little bits of feedback.
Little bits of feedback that altogether make a whole lot of feedback. So yeah, so the way this, as you heard me mention, staff training was a half day, a full day, a half day. That's 3 blocks of time. And you know how our brains work. We tend to flush stuff overnight because we operate in these units in chunks of time. So what we do is we gather feedback in each of those chunks of time. So this is feedback from day 1, day 2, and day 3 of training. And then we got into the camp week, and here's feedback from day 1, day 2, day 3. We're in the middle of day 4 right now. So we're capturing feedback, basically not quite real time, but close to real time in the moment when it's happening.
When did you guys start doing this at camp?
We started doing which part?
When did you start doing this process at summer camp? Because I know you've been working with this group for a while. So
I've literally lost track of how long. Which I
don't want to age you.
Let's see. I was first in this role where I'm in charge of the curriculum for this level. I know. So I'm in charge of the curriculum for this level, which is our first of this. We have 6 levels of camp, 3 for the high school. I'm in charge of the first curriculum for the first level of high school camp. I took that role on in 2015. I think I picked up on this technique and started using it probably the year after, maybe 2 years after that. So I have, and by the end of this week, we'll have a whole wall of Post-it notes, each of which represents one tiny piece of feedback. And altogether, that's a lot of feedback. And every year we do camp curriculum and I review it and I update it. I'm putting into place all the feedback we got from the previous year. So I love to say
what has that done though, like in terms of the improvement of the quality of the product? Tell me a story of like before and after.
Okay, that's a great question. So before, it was me literally trying to remember from about 12 months ago, what worked, what didn't work, what was that idea? That's a great idea. We're talking as a staff. We should do that next time. And who knows where that idea goes, right? And if it ever comes back. So now, and I did it this morning. Somebody said, this morning, somebody said something. I said, that's a great idea. Please write that down for me, right? Write that down, put it on a Post-it note, get it on the wall, because otherwise I'm trying to remember it, or I'm going to move on to the next thing and I'm not going to have time to write it down. So I've delegated, in a sense, the process of feedback capture and retrieval. What it's done is taken all the cognitive load off of my memory. And as a result, I actually get to make all these improvements. So instead of trying to remember, maybe I do 1 or 2 tweaks, find all the typos I forgot last time. Now I'm actually making iterative and significant improvements to the content because I am leveraging the collective genius of 16, 17 other people 12 months in arrears. Like when we have all the great ideas, we grab them. And then when it's time to put them into play, they're all still there. Multiply it out.
So if I were to say, be running a course or a program for clients, where I was running a 3-day event once a month or once a quarter,
for example,
and I were to collect and do these things on my own or with my students, I could then update my course then the next time, the next time, the next time, the next time. Therefore, I don't have to worry about it being perfect the first time. Is that what you're telling me?
That's almost exactly, in fact, it is exactly what I'm telling you. It's leveraging that thing that we know that works, that iterative process, right? Right. It's leveraging that. And so for me, so I'm in charge of the curriculum and therefore the staff. My job is not to, to help the students. My job is to help the people who are helping the students. So my users are actually the staff, right? They're my users because they're using my content to do their jobs. So they're telling me how to improve my job aids, if you will, my binder full of curriculum here. They're teaching me how to make this better for them so they can better do their jobs, to create a better experience for the students who they're serving, right? So truly,
let me ask
my
you,
job is to help them do their jobs better.
How willing are they to do this, knowing that you've created a system to give tiny bits of feedback that are not complicated in the instance that they come up with it?
Very willing. And not just because I told them to do it, but because remember, one of my favorites, lower the bar, right? We've lowered the bar on what it takes to give feedback. It's not a formal piece of paper, it's not a formal sheet. So let me go back. You said what it used to be like. Absolutely.
So it's not scary, huh?
No, it's like minimal, scary. So back in the day, like when I inherited this program, and this method worked, we always did a feedback form at the end of the week. And until I, got into this role and understood a little bit more about how the brain science works, it was realizing that I'm asking that person to remember 5 days ago. And if you've ever done a summer camp with high school kids, you know that a lot happens in 5 days, right? I'm asking you to remember a lot of information from 5 days ago. And I'm right. I've got the primacy and recency effect. So anything that was big and out of the norm, and anything that happened in the last 24 hours is most of what we got feedback on, which means we missed out on all the little other tiny opportunities. So, and I didn't do this the first time. I know that the first time I used that same method, I'm like, this is pretty good feedback. I can work with some of this. But by lowering the bar and making it smaller, we make it that much easier for anybody at any time to give the feedback. And literally in there, so this year, and I think we've done this for the past, I'm checking with my super staff in the back here. I think in the last 2 years, we've given out Post-it notes. So the last 2 or 3 years, every delegate, every student here has gotten a pack of Post-it notes as well and a Sharpie. So they can share their feedback with the staff, who also staff has it, so they can capture their feedback in the moment. So truly out to the edges, I've got feedback coming back to me that's going to help me do a better thing for them next time around. And we tell them that. We tell them, you're helping us make this better for the people that come after you, because what you're experiencing is better because of the people who came before you. So certainly that altruistic, leaving things better than you found them kicks in. So there's the motivation for sure.
How would you, if you could add a number to like how this has helped you improve things percentage-wise, understanding what the goals are, what has this done for the program?
All right, I'm going to bounce. I've got my staff in the back. I'm going to bounce that question to them. Alex is actually, you have a second, Alex? Let me introduce you to somebody.
Yeah, come on, Alex.
This is my right and or left-hand man, depending on the year. This is Alex. He's coming up. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Alex Osterman.
Hey, everyone. Nice to meet you.
Say hi to the people.
Hey, Alex. Nice to see you again.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, incredible. It's been a great week with Michael here at WAC camp.
So the question is, how much better? We're looking for some kind of a number. Like, since we've started doing feedback this way, the changes and the improvements, how would you compare this method and the improvements that come from it compared to the improvements that came from previous methods? Ooh, I know.
Yeah, that's a hard question. It's a huge change. I think this method really opens the door for our staff and delegates to be able to contribute in ways that maybe it wasn't natural to be able to give feedback in that way, giving new ideas and thinking, but also an open way to give issues. I think that was something that was really hard. When's the right time to
to say this sucks, right?
When's the right time for me to come to Michael and be like, hey, this was really bad, but now you have to switch gears and keep teaching the new stuff that we have to do for the next few days.
It's totally true.
And I think this is, on a scale of 1 to 10, it's probably been an 11.
Oh, wow.
It has been significant change.
Thank you.
Huge help to the camp.
Thanks,
Would you say, hey, Alex, can I ask you one more question?
I'm coming back.
Perfect. Would you say that you get more feedback now, just in general?
Yeah, totally. It opens the door for feedback all day and every day. This is what we start the morning with, pint-sized feedback from the day before. I think delegates are also doing it in the morning. But I think it opens up that we're comfortable to be receiving feedback. I receive feedback from the JCs, the junior counselors that I work with. What can we be doing better? What are some things that didn't go so well that we can quickly document them and fold them into next year?
Nice. Awesome. Thanks, Alex. I know you got to keep working. I know Michael.
Speaking of delegate, I've delegated a bunch of stuff to him right now, like literally actively. So, yeah. So a couple of things that he pointed out that I think are really important. And I love that he shared that, because I wouldn't have even been thinking about that perspective. When is the right time to bring up the negative and the issue? Knowing that the people you're telling have to be on their game in the next moment, right? That's not that easy to do. And then you're at risk of losing that feedback, right? So not only are we asking it and saying, not only are we open to it, we're capturing it. There's a little tiny thing about, so here's what we do. So when we get in the room in the morning, everybody's got their Post-it notes. It's all right, Pint feedback from yesterday, give me one of each. I'll tell you what the categories are. Give me one of each. And as you put it up on the wall, say out loud at least one of your ideas. That's validating your ideas. It sometimes gets other ideas going in the room as well. But every person gets to know that the thing that I care about, the thing that I shared, it's there, it's tracked, it's known. And when I say, here's some things we did this year based on last year's feedback, it reinforces that this stuff matters and we do something with it.
Okay. So what is this method called? Now that you've explained it, I saw your drawing. I want to
Super
hear it.
simple. Yep, here we go. Pint-sized feedback, P-I-N-T. See my little milk carton? That's my cute little visual reminder. So pint, so P-I-N-T, we love our acronyms, right? Pluses, issues, new, thinking. P-I-N-T. And then we have these four little symbols. Here, this is a little bit dark. One that goes with each. So for the first time, we haven't done this before. For the first time,
So
we are actually
pluses.
pluses, things that are going well. What went well? What should we do again? What was great? It's the continue of start, stop, continue, if you will.
Yep.
Maybe what was,
Yep.
what was the best part? I is issues. What went poorly? What could we change? What could have been better? What didn't you like? Stop of start, stop, continue. Things to improve. The worst part, which we want to know, right? So pluses, issues, new ideas. What could we add? We should try next time. I know what we should do. You know, I wish. All the yes ands come in from new. That's where the exclamation point is. And then thinking is a big question mark. Questions that I have.
Gotcha.
So how might we of brainstorm technique, or what are all the ways of brainstorming? Wouldn't it be great if? How would it change? What if, and of course, why? So those are the four
Yep.
parts of the feedback, and PINT. And it's simple. Do I need those four categories?
And of course,
Not necessarily.
and of course, we're from Wisconsin, so it's a carton of milk.
Of course, it's a carton of milk. Where's my carton of milk? Of course, it's a carton of milk. I'm going to say Wisconsin. Wisconsin Association of Student Organizations. So, councils. So therefore, what we wanted, so that keeps it easy. One of the things that I stress, let me just grab one. There. One of the things that I stress is that they got to mark, get it to focus, which type of feedback it is. There's an exclamation point on that one. There we go. Okay.
Gotcha.
So they got to tell me what, because here's what happens otherwise. They just put the name of the activity. Is that a good thing? You liked it? Is it a thing we should try differently? I don't know. So that little simple tag, if you will, tells me what kind of that feedback is. So I can look and I say, what are all the good things? Okay, up plus those. What are all the things that didn't work? Let's address those. Where are all the new ideas? And we collect all, so we can actually cross-categorize different types of feedback. Right now, I've got them organized by time frame to help me and them organize what I'm reviewing. But that little thing makes a huge difference when it comes to, it also encourages people to give all those different kinds of feedback. So, right, feedback is sometimes seen as just, I'll only say the good things, or I'll only tell you the critical things. I want all the what ifs and the maybes too. And that's where the new thinking part is really critical for helping me make things better, because every year we come up with new ideas. Some of them we put in next year and sometimes they flop. So we take them out and we iterate every single year, which is pretty cool.
Yep. Yeah. So, I mean, in your mind, how has this made your job easier?
Oh my God. It literally, how I say, it makes my job better and easier simultaneously, because it's easier because I don't have to remember. I am literally standing on the shoulders of 16 other people, right? If I appear taller than others, it is because I stand on the shoulders of giants. These folks are the folks in the rooms, in the trenches doing the work. They are the ones who need to tell me. Everything for me is theoretical, right? This whole curriculum that I put together every year, that's theory. It's all theory. I have no idea what's going to happen in the room, right? But once it does happen, and I get to hear from them, yes, and do that again, or that died, cool. Now I can go back to this and from them get that feedback and do something with it. So it makes my job easier because they're helping me at every single turn. And it makes my job better because I know my stuff is that much better because it's, you got to be kidding me. Okay, so I literally have feedback coming in right now. Like, thank you, Brad. You're welcome. Thank you, Brad. I gotta see what this is.
Hey, it's another Brad. Hey, Brad. I think I know that Brad, don't I?
You know that, Brad?
Indirectly.
I think you might know that, Brad. Brad, Lindsay, Brad, James, Brad, me, Brad. Hi, Brad.
Hi, Brad. Nice to meet you, Brad.
Oh, I like this. Nice.
Do you mind if he shares, Brad?
With,
Brad, do you mind if he shares?
Yeah, I'll share it. Yeah, absolutely.
Combination with Kayla. We were both kind of talking about some of the things that the kids,
Yeah.
to help them set them up for today a little bit better.
Okay, I love this. All right, so the way that this week is designed is on the first night, we give the students an experience where they tend to not do very well. And that's by design, because we want to show them not that we don't show them, but there's a value to seeing where my gaps are, and where they perform in that first activity helps them and us see where they need help and support. Then we give them all the skills and the abilities, and then they apply it to this case study at the end. So here's an idea: collaboration between 2 staff members. Just hit the board. Love this. Make the first round of, okay, so one of the things we do is a mini conference within this workshop. 3 rounds of seminar topics that students can choose what they want to do. Make the first round of seminars all revolve around setting delegates up for success in the problem-solving project, which is what they're doing right now. So it's a choose your own adventure type time where they can go to whatever topic they want. But if we intentionally built in some of the sub skills that they need to support them for this project, how much better prepared would they be for this? For example, interview techniques, because we have them do an interview of a person playing a role. Understanding opposing views. How do you reconcile differences of opinion? Those could be really nice mini topics. And then at least 1 or 2 people in every group of 14 would have learned that skill and be able to apply it to help the overall. That's fantastic.
Nice. All right. So we just, I don't know if you saw that. So just to recap so people see it, and then I want to ask one more question, because I know we're already running out of time, and of course, as we do. You saw it in action. You saw how it works. There's multiple people involved. This isn't, all Michael's doing is facilitating the gathering of this information so that it can be reflected upon each day by a group. And then it can also be enacted if it's small bite-sized stuff for the next day. So not only are you just sitting on the feedback, but you're making it happen faster.
Exactly.
So for those of you who are worried about, well, great, we get all this feedback, but it just sits there like a strategic plan and all this stuff. No, the idea of this is you're doing it regularly. So this is also something that in different iterations, but the Pint iteration is a great way. Like I've seen this work, especially if you work in a small group office, if you work in a retail store, if you work in some sort of service provider office where like you've got people coming in constantly and you're having to work with them. It can work in almost any setting on a daily basis, and this can begin to start and end your day. So remember, we talked about opening your day and closing your day, so planning your day and prepping for tomorrow. This can be part of that. And if you get everybody in your business doing it, all of a sudden you have a well-oiled machine that's consistently iterating every single day.
Exactly.
He's using this with a camp, a summer camp. This is great if you've got courses, curriculum, procedures. So for consultants who are working inside of other organizations and have curriculum and planning, and you're trying to get active feedback regularly. So, hey, testimonials, probably a good way to do it. Okay?
Yep.
Also, trying to improve the stuff that you're very unsure about, good way to do it.
Yep.
Trying to get validation because you feel like going into it, you're unprepared, probably a good way to do it. I'm just saying, there's probably a handful of other reasons why this is a good thing to do it. Don't know how much more I can say that. All right.
So and you're right, because I learned this from corporate. I learned this when I learned innovation thinking, design thinking methodology. When I was working for a large manufacturing company in Milwaukee, they taught it as part of their innovation training. And I'm like, that's so simple. I bet students could even do that. And guess what?
So let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
How tough was this to get everybody else you work with to buy into doing this? Did you have to get everybody the first year?
No, didn't have to, because let's say we got half the step.
Holy cow!
8 people worth of
how much did this cost you to do this?
What's the case of Post-its cost me? Right? I mean, that's it. Post-its and markers, tape. I got a roll of white paper. I'm gonna roll that down when we're done.
And how much time the first year you did this did it take to like start doing this on a regular basis every day?
Every day. I mean, we take 5 minutes every morning. 5 minutes every morning, and I get on average what? Dozen, 20, 30 pieces of feedback.
So 5 minutes every morning for your team, right? Which you're probably going to connect with everybody on your team if you're running a team anyway.
Yep.
Stack Post-it notes. Sharpies are good, right? Sharpies are always good.
Clear, good, easy to read.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. If people have tough time handwriting, just tell them to take an extra 30 seconds to slow down. So what I'm getting at is total is $3 a week plus
I mean,
5 minutes.
really?
Let's say you got a team of 6, and realistically, it's quality, the value, the ROI on the back end of it is all of the things I laid out.
Can't even.
I don't even know, like, this is one of those where I want to flip my head upside down in the emoji with the smiling face
Right.
and go, I don't know why those of you who aren't doing things like this aren't doing it, especially if you're working in teams, in an office on a regular basis. And for those of you who are saying you can't do it because you're working in teams on a regular basis, because we all work remotely, hey, there's a cool thing out there called Post-its online, digital Post-it notes.
Thing. Totally a thing.
Or you use a project management tool.
Yep. Anything.
Or, I mean,
So a shared document.
my point is this.
With 4 columns. On
Yeah.
it. I mean, any of those will work.
Yeah. So long story short, I guess the reason I wanted to hammer that home is because I've heard a lot of people complain about not being able to do certain things because they're too big.
Right.
And this is one of those simple
tiny.
things
This is 3 inches by 3 inches big. That's all. That's all.
Yeah.
Small on purpose.
Why it's called pint-sized feedback.
Pint-sized.
Right?
It's multi-layered metaphor.
What else should people know about this? Like, I mean, hit it home.
I'd say one of the most important things to understand. Okay, so you asked the question, and I'll answer a previous point you made by answering your question. You said, I don't know why you wouldn't do it. I know exactly why you wouldn't do it. Because you don't want to get it. Because you don't want to improve. Because you say the way we're doing it is perfect and it can't be any better. Or I don't want to put in the time and effort it's going to take to make the changes that people are going to mention. Right? I don't want to know what's not working.
You don't have to enact it all at once though, right? You can like
right.
pick one sticky note and go, hey, today we're going to work on this one.
This one. Or none of it, because it's not going to work. But it doesn't mean, here's what I've learned. I'm not going to be able to use all of this. I mean, functionally use and apply all of it. But it gives me trends and it gives me ideas. And somewhere in there is the thing that's going to make the difference, right? And it's my job to filter through it. But if I never captured all the ideas in the first place, I got nothing. And I'm operating as one man.
Yeah.
If you ever feel like you're carrying too much weight, owning a program or an effort or a project or anything like that, share the load. This is sharing the load. And having a little bit of, I'll say, a little bit of the confidence to say, I know this is not as good as it could be. And I know I'm not the only person who can make it better. If you can get that mindset locked in, you can do this. But if you don't agree with those first 2 statements, no, then even a simple method like this one isn't going to help you. It can't help you.
Yeah. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Just, you know.
Yeah.
So, hey, our time's up. I hope learning about the pint-sized feedback from Michael and how big of an impact it can make, and not only that, but how simple it is to like implement, doesn't scare you away. And I guarantee you, if you have problems, you can probably give us an email, message us, do all those things. I think I know a guy who might be willing to help you work through that stuff. Just saying. Right now, he's spending time at summer camp, but he'll be back next week. So I might know a guy. Let me just put it out there.
Okay.
So hopefully this was helpful. If it was, and if you're watching it, share it with a friend. If you're listening to it and you missed some of the imagery, check out the show notes at sketchyideashow.com and you'll find it. In next week's episode, we're going to have some more of these small little tidbits because it's summer and we know we're trying to work through getting some things momentum-wise going before the school year starts and more people are moving and flowing and all this stuff. But if you have questions, send us your questions either in DMs, Facebook Messenger, LinkedIn, all those places, or email us at info@sketchyideashow.com. I know Brian checks it regularly every single day, and one of us will get back to you. Realistically, it will be Brian. So thank you, Brian, for those of you who don't know. And come back next week when we have another sketchy idea live to share with you. And remember, just because it's a sketchy idea doesn't mean it's not worth exploring. Take care. We'll see you next Wednesday, 1:30 Central Standard Time.